Well, hello and welcome to Bowtie Life, where we talk mostly about life in the garden out there. But today is a little bit different. We're going to talk a little bit about ADHD and living with it in regular life. So let's jump right into it. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So a whole bunch of years ago, 30 some odd years ago, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and it answered a lot of questions about things growing up, because had I known it earlier, I may have had a different growing up experience. But, that's neither here nor there. Life happens and we figure it out from there. So it came at the right time. It took me a long time. I spent 26 years on the maximum adult dosage of Ritalin. We talk about niacin in another video, and getting off of Ritalin because my resting heart rate was over 110 for 26 years. But today I want to talk about, not about medication, but some other practices that I've incorporated in my life to help me cope with ADHD. And I want to start off telling you a story, a real quick story. We live in Destin, Florida, and we on occasion will drive to Orlando, of course. And that drive between here and Orlando, mainly between, if you know the route between Lake City and Orlando, it was a very stressful experience. It's about a 6-hour drive from Destin to Orlando. And back when I was on Ritalin, it normally took extra Ritalin for me to get through that experience of driving down there. And typically when I got there, I was exhausted. I was not worth anything. We would go check into wherever we're staying. I'd go to sleep and then be ready to go the next morning. And then one day we did something that, and the day after we did it, the drive down to Orlando, we took off, and I got there and I was not exhausted at all because of the one little thing that we did. And just keep that in mind. I want to talk to you about making decisions. And of course, we all know that making decisions in life can be very tiresome, especially if we have to go through a process and figure out the pros and cons and everything else, and make the decision board, and kind of even more exhausting. But decisions are exhausting. And me as a person with ADD, I have only so much bandwidth to make decisions. And so I know this, and so I try not to make but so many big decisions at a given time. The reason why this video is coming out now is because we just got through with our homecoming event at our church. Mrs. Bowtie and myself were very involved with setup and preparing and planning and everything else that's been going on for 2 years planning for this event. And we both came home after the very last event and we crashed. And I was just sitting there thinking, wow, that was a lot of decisions made. And so it's not just big decisions that exhaust us. It's all decisions. And the thing that will sneak up on me in my ADD is the micro decisions that we make. And these micro decisions, little tiny decisions that we make along the way, just driving down the highway, every little micro decision, from changing lanes. Am I going to exit here to go to the bathroom? Am I going to accelerate now? Am I going to decelerate now? Am I going to stay 3 seconds behind the car in front of me, or am I going to tailgate them? Every little thing, which I don't like to tailgate, and don't tailgate me, please. But every little decision, no matter how small they are, they chip away at what we call the decision fatigue. And yes, I wrote down some notes here because I can't keep all these things in mind. Now, decision fatigue, we've all experienced decision fatigue when you're making those big decisions. It's also called ego depletion. And I only have so much in there that I can deal with in a particular day. And ADD, and this is how I learned about ADD, is ADD is the restriction of flow to the brain. Go look at that niacin video. I'll link it at the end of this video if you haven't seen it yet. But this decision fatigue, these tiny decisions, bunches and bunches of them, can be truly exhausting. And, you know, we talk about how people that go to the office and the big wigs, they go and make all these big decisions, they come home tired. Well, the not big wigs, the rest of the people come home tired too from making all those small decisions. So back to the trip to Orlando, what we did is we bought a Toyota Prius that had the full range adaptive cruise control. And we drove from the point we got on I-10 outside of Freeport, the complete drive all the way down to Lake City, turning at Lake City, and then heading over to Orlando at that next turnoff where you go either to Tampa or Orlando. I ended up touching my brakes like twice because the full range adaptive cruise control that's standard on a Toyota will actually slow, if it detects that there's a car in front of you, it will actually slow you down as much as to a full stop. And there was construction when this happened this would be back in 2017 or 18. And it would pull me all the way down to a complete stop. But the thing is, I didn't have to make the decisions of when to slow down, when to speed up, when to slow down, when to speed up. The car in front of me is going, okay, this is getting really tiring. This is really that's what was happening to me. We got down to Orlando that day and I was just as fresh as the moment I woke up. I couldn't believe it. I always liked the idea of the adaptive cruise control, but it was a whole new world to me. And so I've actually started looking at other areas in my life where I can do something that I don't have to make a decision. For example, parking. I park in the same place, or if someone's already there, I'll park next to it at church every single time I go down there. And the reason is because when I come out, I never have to look for my vehicle. I know exactly where my vehicle is. I go straight to it. I've never even made a micro decision to sit there and look around for the vehicle. And so I park in that same exact spot every time. Now here's the thing. I will actually take a more difficult route to avoid making the decision. The place I park at is actually pretty far away from the door, but I pick that place because no one else generally takes that place and I can go directly to it. I do it at Walmart. I have a certain aisle that I park down, and occasionally I'll park on the other side facing that aisle, but I will park in the same general area. So when I walk out of Walmart, I don't have to sit there and decide where have I parked and look for my car. I know exactly where I walk and where I go to get that. And reducing life down to these little routines has been so very important for my overall ego depletion or decision fatigue. I don't have to think of these little things. And the more I do that, the more, the better I'm able to make it through the day. Now, you still have to make decisions every day anyway, but I will have little parts of the day that I have very specific routines, like breakfast. I do the exact same breakfast every single day. I've actually done the exact same breakfast every single day since about 8th grade. I'm 57 now. That's since I was a teenager, became a teenager. I've been doing that exact same breakfast almost every single day. Back then, I didn't even know about decision fatigue, but I discovered that it was just easier if I could do the same thing. When I make a change to that routine, it takes me weeks to get the new change. Something very minor, I say, oh, that was really good, like a number of years ago. Mrs. Bowtie suggests, my breakfast, it's a piece of toast with 2 eggs scrambled on top. And I eat it as an open-faced sandwich. And Mrs. Bowtie said, I bet that would be good with some cream cheese. And it took me a week or two, but I got down in the habit of spreading a smear of cream cheese on top of that toast and then putting the egg, and it just made all the difference to me. So making changes to that routine is a very slow process for my brain. Final example, As a handyman, of course, I have a lot of tools, and those tools stay in one of two places. They either stay in the vehicle for those tools that I use every single day, or they go into shelves in the garage where I can pull them out, and certain tools that have specific tasks that I don't use every day, but I need them on rare occasion. But everything, especially on the tool bags in my car, everything has a place. A place, the old saying, everything in its place, a place for everything, and everything in its place. And I can open up my tool bag and look that fast and close it and know there are no empty spots. Every single spot is there, and I can tell pretty much when I haven't left any tools. But if I open that bag, oh, there's a gap right there, and my pocket, my little 6-inch level is not in its place. Oh yeah, I used it back over, and I'll walk back there, and sure enough, there it is. That helps me avoid yet another decision. So anyway, this is not a thing that happens overnight for me. And if you're struggling with ADD, it may not be a thing that happens overnight for you, but for me, just the key thing is just finding those routines that I can do without even thinking about it. I don't even think about the steps in making the breakfast. Everything is in the exact same place in the refrigerator. I go to the exact same counter in the kitchen to make it. Everything is just the same, and that's just many fewer decisions that I have to make. And for the ADD brain, that's typically the problem, because the more decisions you have to make, the more stress the physiological stress there is on the brain, which decreases the blood flow to the brain, which makes for a worse and worse day. So I'm getting ready to record some garden tours, and I just wanted to throw that out at you. It's been a subject that's been on my mind for about a month or two. See, I had to think about it a very long time before I could get everything together. But I hope that if you are living with ADD, or you're living with someone that's dealing with ADD and learning how to deal with it, this decision fatigue is really huge. It's been a thing that makes life so much simpler for me. And if you thought this was informational, educational, maybe a little inspirational, or maybe just entertaining to hear how silly all this stuff can be, please click the thumbs up on this video. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to see more about ADHD, or if you're interested in what's going on in the garden. I'm about to shoot the raised garden bed tours for this month, and there's stuff happening out there. Those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing. You're my heroes. You are help growing not only our community, but the homesteading and gardening community as a whole on YouTube. And we are building a compendium of information that can be here for a very long time, that people can learn from and grow from, and become self-sufficient, become healthier from. So appreciate all those of you who have subscribed. If you're still watching at this point, thank you so much for watching. All these are free things that don't cost anything, except maybe a little bit of your time or a click or two to help grow the network, the community, the groups of people that are showing what they want to see. And be sure to share this on your social media if you think you have a friend that's dealing with ADHD that might gain from this. So decision fatigue has truly been one of the biggest contributors to my challenges. You can ask Mrs. Bowtie. She'll tell you, when there's been a lot of decisions made, I crash, and I'm not a happy Bowtie. So anyway, that's about it. Y'all have a blessed day.